Oceans are fascinating. They are homes for up to 80% of life on Earth, cover more than 70% of the Earth's surface, yet are still full of mystery. Growing up in Hong Kong, I was always surrounded by endless oceans, and I always knew that the oceans were my happy place. But after learning about the detrimental effects that humans have caused for this precious wonder of the world, I haven't been able to see it the same anymore. So I embarked on a journey to look deeper into the issue of unsustainable seafood in Hong Kong. The first part of my journey was to get an insight into what unsustainable seafood is and why it's so important. I sat down with Stan Shea from Bloom, a marine conservation NGO in Hong Kong, to learn more about the topic.
In my cases, on what I understand is we are talking about species that we catch faster than they can reproduce. Even in the world, very many lack of the research to actually understand the marine or the fish population. But now with relatively ease of access or different technology, now we actually understand even the ocean is huge, but the population of the marine species are actually threatened. We have to look at what we actually understand and also what we're eating. So, which means we have a history of eating diversity of the marine species. I think what we understand from the research, around 10% of 20,000 restaurants in Hong Kong that actually serving sustainable seafood. And we also found in the research is lack of people actually understand the need of sustainable seafood or what is sustainable seafood. The problem is in the mainstream or the trend, the majority are not talking about or even understand sustainable seafood. So the message that we need is people should go for sustainable seafood.
After I learned about unsustainable seafood, I explored Hong Kong to see it for myself. I first explored the more urbanized areas of the city, in which I noticed a lot of markets selling red big eyes, orange spotted groupers, and many more fish species that should be avoided. I also noticed many people spending their time next to the ferry piers fishing for fish without knowing if it was sustainable or not. Then I went on to explore the more rural areas, expecting to see less of what I saw in the urban areas, yet I was surprised to find out that it was not only not what I had expected, but instead worse. I had seen boats full of all types of unsustainable marine species, such as the giant grouper and pompano, and I hadn't seen a single thing promoting sustainable seafood. I stumbled upon some people who mentioned a trawl ban that was set in place in order to reduce the amount of unsustainable practices in the seafood industry. I met up with Lobi Howe from WWF HK to find out more about how the ban has had a positive impact on unsustainable seafood.
The trawl ban implemented in Hong Kong, and it banned all kinds of trawling in the water as a destructive and irresponsible kind of fishing method. Nowadays in Hong Kong, there are no more local seafood can be produced from such a trawling method. More and more fishermen are shifting to other more controllable or less destructive methods. And in recent studies, there are also results that our marine environment and ecosystem are slowly reviving. The majority of our seafood provided in Hong Kong is imported from elsewhere. It would be very difficult situation for the government or even for environmental groups because it's a very complex and very huge business. Around the world, there are more and more sustainable seafood guides published by different environmental groups. We can refer to a seafood guide before we buy seafood or we eat seafood. Check, which ones are better, which one would we need to think twice and try to change our behavior so that we can consume more sustainable seafood.
Although now that the trawl ban has significantly reduced the amount of unsustainable fishing in Hong Kong, other factors such as seafood being imported or people just not knowing what sustainable seafood is has not gotten rid of the problem. This experience taught me to be more aware of the food I consume, to do research on the species before eating it, and to use my new knowledge on the topic to educate family, friends, and to be able to turn this issue around so that my happy place since childhood will still be a happy place for generations to come.